And we're back to continue our trek through Anor Londo. Are you ready, Deprava?
I am.
Alright, so again, this is the bonfire, and there's a little Solaire man right there.
Yeah, and this is gonna be the episode where I died at Ornstein and Smough 1,000 times.
You might, I don't know. Talk to Solaire, because if you don't talk to him, his quest won't.
I think we did that
Oh, did we?
last time.
Well, do it just to be safe.
Yeah, I did it. And I think I had the game running a little bit earlier in order to test everything, and I think that I have been invaded because I cannot use this bonfire. So I think there might be an invader ambling around trying to find me.
Well, that'll be fun to deal with.
Yeah, so we'll just see how that goes. And here's
how far did we get? We did everything but the main sort of cathedral part.
yeah,
right?
we got to the main cathedral
And then my ADD kicked in and I couldn't
area.
do it
Ooh boy, this is starting off well.
I'm on a really big delay, but that's alright.
Are you? My internet has been.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's probably about the same as it was last time. I'm not sure. I've got a nice glass of bourbon.
There we
to
go.
help me through it anyway.
The Dark Spirit Wax King has invaded me.
Yeah, he has it on my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm about 4 seconds behind.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
So try to die near the bonfire.
No way, I got this.
Uh-huh.
Where is he?
Let him come to you, Deprava. You
That's-
are the hunter.
I think I am the hunted. There he
Alright,
is.
but you've got to use his arrogance against him. It's the only way.
Whoa, those hitboxes.
Give it to him, Dave.
I'm giving it to him. Wow. Okay, so didn't give it to him.
I'm not there yet. Okay, now I saw you get it.
This is going to be an interesting stream if every one of your comments is not there yet.
Well, that might just be something we have to deal with. So that's how a lot of invasions work out. That was crazy. That first attack looked like it landed about 12 feet to your right.
Yeah, that first attack was a little trolly.
Well, but I mean, if your internet isn't quite there.
Which we obviously know it's not.
This stream is brought to you by the good people at AT&T. Or if you have Comcast.
I have Comcast.
Alright, by the good people at Comcast. Who can't be bothered to provide a good product because they have a monopoly.
Delivering suboptimal quality since we started having internet.
So, I guess, well, there's not really much we can say about lore as you go around and do this again.
Yeah, well, I had to...
We already talked about what the Silver Knights were.
Yep. Alright, I'm going to show a shortcut here if you don't want to go through all of the hubbub that I did going around the... up to the roof and down the different spiral staircases. You can just jump off right here and we'll see if I can do it. Let's go with no.
I mean, you already unlocked the official shortcut.
Yeah, but I want to show, see, you can make that jump, and then you are good to go straight to the cathedral. Or I guess the opening
Just saw the
chamber.
jump. So this cathedral looks like it was the centerpiece of the Anne Orlando cultural life, I guess. Now be careful. On the other side is a dude with a very large bow. So he's gonna hit you.
There's another Silver Knight over there. Actually, yeah, I think that's a Silver Knight.
Yeah.
But instead,
you can also go out the front because there's an item there. But there's a blacksmith you should probably go to first. Let's see that little window cracked. It's cracked because you can go through it.
Yep. And you just precariously follow along this ledge.
Yeah, and again, it looks like you're not going to make it, but you will. You just have to be careful.
Alright, and that gets you the Dragon Slayer Great Bow and Dragon Slayer Arrows.
Or it will in about 10 seconds.
Do you want to just call this?
Well, I mean, you just got it now. What's that delay?
About 5 seconds.
That's not terrible.
Yeah. Alright, and so then the only way down is to fall down. Hopefully taking that guy with you.
Well, we can always hope.
And then if you open up this door over here, this takes you back to the front entrance, which gives you an easier path to get to this blacksmith without having to go through all that whole up and down and back around. And this gives us a nice vantage point to see where we've been throughout the Anne Orlando journey.
So we just did all that, and that big thing to the right was where the Painted World was, that big cathedral there. And that wall was the wall we came in on, and it's all very, very picturesque.
Yes. Punctuated by me dying. Or, well...
Yeah, just getting hit.
Just getting hit. Ooh.
It's a good thing you can one-hit them with that halberd.
No kidding. And then this is a Titanite chunk.
And Titanite chunks are for... Have we upgraded anything yet? Well, anyways,
I mean, we've upgraded the Black Knight halberd, but it uses different stuff.
Right.
And so this is the second blacksmith that you'll meet in the game. This is the giant blacksmith.
And this guy does special things for you, and you can get boss weapons from him as well.
Yes.
We won't because they're mostly useless, but they're there. And you
they are there. Yeah. He can also reinforce your weapons normally. Can we upgrade the halberd any? I don't know if we have any more.
And if you want to do any kind of, if you want to add any sort of elemental thing to your weapon, you got to use this guy, I think, right? Well,
no.
Lightning. I think for lightning.
This guy, yes, this guy can infuse a weapon with lightning, and
magic and divine and stuff is the guy in New Londo, I think.
No, he just does magic and enchanted.
Oh, enchanted, right.
Andre does divine, and Vamos, who we have not met yet, does fire and chaos. And you can buy regular shards and large shards, green shards. And this is one of the few places where you can actually just buy Twinkling Titanite. This used to not be in the game, but they added it post
patches.
Post patches.
Not the patches, but
yeah.
Computer patches. We'll meet patches later. He's a mainstay in the Dark Souls universe.
Yes, and we shall upgrade our halberd to be.
And you can also buy, I think it's those giant armor sets, like from the Giants and Orlando. You can buy it here as well.
And if you'll notice, this is the same type of giant who was moving the boulders in Sen's Fortress. And also there's a secret back around here. If you circle around him, there is a chest. And within it is the Hawk Ring, which was the sigil ring of Hawkeye Goff, who was one of the 4 knights of Gwyn.
And also a giant.
Yes.
But like a giant, not just larger than human giant, as Ornstein and Gwyn are.
Yeah.
You'll know what we mean later, but...
Yes, and Before the DLC came out, there was a lot of speculation that Blacksmith was Goff, since he was next to his ring. But we later meet Goff in the DLC area, so we know that not to be true.
Well, it might have been something where originally they had meant it to be something, but then changed their mind. By they, I mean the developers.
Yes.
So there's that knight with the silver bow we talked about.
Yep.
And now he's no more.
Oh, and then here's where you can summon Solaire.
Do you want to do the Lautrec thing?
I usually do that afterward.
Okay.
But
yeah, so right there where he was is you can summon Solaire, who is pretty useful because especially if this is your first playthrough, Ornstein and Smough are a very tough boss. So it helps to have Solaire sort of tank them. That big thing opens the main doors, so again you can just get a straight shot from that bonfire.
Yeah, so this opens the main doors straight through. And I, in general, go back to this first bonfire when fighting Ornstein and Smough because I think it's a more direct run, as opposed to having to go around the inside of the castle. Although I'm not sure that's true.
It's maybe a little bit faster.
Oh, whatever. We'll just do the normal way. And then, should we summon Solaire? I've never summoned him for this fight.
I mean, why not? Because I sort of don't want to try it 12 times.
I don't
well,
either.
not that, I mean, not that I have so little faith in your thing, but...
I know,
I do
don't
have faith in your skills, but...
don't give me too much credit.
Well, alright, I mean, just try it without him once. I mean, if you want to put your skills to the test. And then if it doesn't work out, we can summon Solaire.
Yep. So, this boss is actually a pair of bosses, and this is pretty much known as the big boss sort of stopgap in Dark Souls of, this is the boss that really slows people down their first time through.
The first time I played, it took me forever to beat them. They're really difficult. Again, summoning Solaire helps. Also, summoning human players helps too. The way... Well, as Dave starts it, we'll talk about the different strategies. So see, there was a human player.
Yes, and so the difficulty of this fight, as you can see, is that there are in fact two enemies.
Ornstein being the former captain of Gwyn's 4 Knights. We already mentioned Goff, and actually I think that's the one we mentioned, but also Artorias and Sieran were as well. Smough, or Smough, however you pronounce it, was not.
He was not.
He apparently had a habit of crushing humans with his hammer and eating them.
Yeah. Which
was bad PR for the Holy Knights of Gwyn. Even so...
and I'm immediately dead. Well, I was trying to wait to ask you which one I should kill first, but then we had to talk about lore.
Well, I did. You could have tried to fight, regardless. But so as I was saying, even so, Smough had a place of sort of honor among the knights, even though he wasn't officially one of them, because he was kind of a dude bro with Ornstein for whatever reason. And there's a lot of speculation about whether Smough is also a giant or maybe a lesser giant. His name ends in like an O-U-G-H, as does Goff's. So there's kind of a lot of speculation as to what Smough or Smough is.
I think they're both just members of the divine race that in general are taller than humans.
Well, I mean, Goff is a legit giant.
Yeah, I mean, or I guess.
But Ornstein and Smough are definitely... Anyway, I'm just saying there's speculation because of the names.
Yeah.
That maybe they're both kind of or some sort of thing. Who knows? You know, maybe Smough just ate too many humans and became more human-like.
Alright, who are we killing first?
We're gonna kill Smough first because we want Ornstein's armor and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what I needed to know.
Now, you'll notice there's a lot of pillars in here, and those pillars are useful. So the established way to do this fight, even though it looks super intimidating and impossible, and it kind of is, takes forever to do it, is you want to sort of kite them around these pillars and use them to sneak in attacks.
Oh, God.
As Deprava is doing.
And immediately dead.
Well, I'm not there yet. You were doing okay.
I was. So, there it is. And as I'm sure you're becoming increasingly aware, this fight can get very frustrating very quickly, especially if you're trying to kill Smough first.
Yeah, it's sort of
convention.
Not that it's easy, but it is accepted as easier to kill Ornstein first.
Well, Smough's sort of AI movements tend toward him running away from you, and so making it easier to separate Ornstein from him. But when you're trying to kill Smough first, you're right in Smough's face, which means that you can't see where Ornstein is.
And he's typically killing you.
And he's typically killing you because he can cover ground much quicker. But as you can see, they don't have... Individually, they don't have a lot of hit points.
Right. Another thing to note is once you kill one, the other will get a sort of buff on him. And
Yeah.
they'll kind of get the other one's abilities. So keep that in mind. Like, once you kill... like, if you kill Smough first, Ornstein will sort of grow in size and he'll do a butt stomp. And similarly, when you killed Ornstein, Smough gets sort of faster.
And Smough gains the lightning effect that Ornstein currently has.
Right.
I think I'm dead now.
As we mentioned, they're bros, so they know how to work with each other and give each other help.
Okay. And also, the fight prevents you from getting them both down to really low health and then killing one, and that as soon as you kill one, the other one heals up to full. So there's no point
that's
in
just stop people from like whittling both down. And
and then trivializing the fight afterwards.
So really, don't bother doing that. Just focus on one because it's like
just
you said, a
pick which
complete
one.
waste otherwise. Halberd ain't that long, Dave. There you go.
Long enough. Oh wow. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, I killed Smough first.
As was the plan.
Yes. So now Ornstein will grow increased in size, and he will gain Smough's butt stomp attack, which is actually the most dangerous attack in this fight. Super Ornstein isn't the most dangerous because his big model wasn't really built around... his model wasn't really built to take into advantage his new size. So it's very easy to just stand under his legs and avoid all of his damage. There's only a couple of attacks that hit between his legs.
Having said that, just be super careful. This still isn't easy, and especially like if you're new to this game, it's tough. But it's certainly much more manageable than the first.
Yeah, the only thing you really have to worry about is, like I said, the butt stomp attack, which as soon as you think you see it, you need to just run the F away.
That'll hurt you.
It will hurt a lot.
But again, other than that, the best strategy is just stand right under him. If he
Yeah.
shifts, shift with him. Keeping your distance
And
is
there it
bad
is.
strategy here.
Yeah. Like I just said, the difficulty of the fight is taking them on both at the same time. As soon as you manage to kill one of them, the other one is, in general, easier to take on. And in fact, Super Smough is probably harder than Super Ornstein. But it's just easier to kill Ornstein first, so most players do that. And also over here we see the statue of Gwyn, the same as the one we saw in Gwyn's tomb. And then over here we see a statue of somebody we don't know, but we'll eventually meet her in just a second.
Well, we've seen her breast before.
Well, yes, that's Guinevere, the daughter of Gwyn. And then over here we have an empty pedestal. Presumably,
where his son used to be.
Yeah, where his son was before his exile. And then, of course, guarding them, we have more statues of the knights.
Right, and no statue for Gwyn's other son.
Yeah. Because you're not supposed to know about him.
Well, he never achieved much. The wrong son died.
Indeed.
It's sort of like, basically, Peyton and Eli Manning. That's pretty much how this works out. You know that they all love Peyton more. And this is, if you had killed Lautrec already, you would get his armor set.
Well, we'll come back and get it.
Up here.
So you open this door, and here is Guinevere.
In the flesh. Wink. So there she is. So she looks big too. And of course just enormous boobs.
Yeah, I actually heard a story about that. In an interview, I think Miyazaki was talking about how he hadn't intended Guinevere to have such an enormous rack. And the designer for her, like the artist, like made her model and drew her with such a huge bust, and he took it to Miyazaki for approval. And Miyazaki looked and saw like that this artist was so proud of how he'd made this chest so big that he couldn't tell the guy, no, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. He liked the model too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So of course she's telling you that you are the chosen person, and she wants you to rekindle the flame. So she's giving you the Lord Vessel, which is a tool you can use to do that.
Yeah, so this is the progression of the actual personal story of the game. We began as an undead locked in an asylum. We were rescued by a knight who bequeathed on us sort of his quest that he couldn't complete, which was to ring the Bells of Awakening. And we then learned that ringing the Bells of Awakening marked you as a chosen undead that could then venture into Sen's fortress and face the trials and ascend to Anor Londo. And now finally we have learned that being a chosen undead means that you become Gwyn's successor. That it is your job to find and link the fire that will strengthen and prolong the Age of Fire and fight off the coming Age of Darkness.
You can also enter a covenant with her, and you can learn, I think, a few miracles, and she gives you a ring, too, which I think boosts miracle power.
Yes, the Ring of the Sun Princess.
Yeah, so it's just sort of light miracle stuff.
And also, her ring actually provides an interesting hint, and if we go to the description, which we go to the Ring of the Sun Princess, we learn that the Princess of Sunlight Guinevere left Anor Londo along with many other deities, and later became wife to flame god Flan. Which isn't...
But that's weird, because she's right there in front of you.
And we do not see Flan anywhere. So perhaps something here is wrong. And in fact, if you... do I even have anything that I can use.
Do you have like a throwing dagger or an arrow? Do you have a
Crossbow.
bow and arrow?
You have a crossbow.
There you go. So if you have ranged attacks of any kind,
Oh,
and
wow,
you're
that
brave
didn't
enough to
work.
test the waters, you can discover something.
Yes, if you hit her with any damage at all, she vanishes.
You have to not miss.
Yeah.
Well, that looked an awful lot like an illusion.
So, killing her just it removed the sun in Anor Londo, and we heard that strange warning
Eerie voice.
from somebody calling themselves Gwendolyn. So what could it possibly mean?
And as you'll notice, the sunlight that we saw as well was part of the illusion. So
Yes.
you'll see that in reality, Anor Londo is bathed in twilight and darkness.
Yes, that there is no more sun in Anor Londo.
Because as we have now seen, there are possibly no gods left in the city.
Yes, Guinevere was an illusion. Gwen is gone. And all that remains is this person claiming to be Gwendolyn.
Right. And Ornstein and Smough were here, but you just killed them, so that.
Yes, and if
that's it.
we also notice here that all of the sentries are gone, which in fact leads to indicate that the Silver Knights and the larger Giant Knights were all part of the illusion of maintaining Anor Londo.
And you'll notice that when they died, they sort of did the evaporation thing that Guinevere did.
Yes. And instead we have these two in front of us, who are in fact members of Gwendolyn's covenant that are tasked with protecting and maintaining the illusion of Anor Londo.
But don't fear, these are NPCs, even though it looks like invading players, it's just NPCs, so they're AI.
Oh god.
And they're doable.
Except I'm terrible.
Well, except that, but they are technically doable.
Yes. But mostly I'm terrible.
So ideally you wouldn't die there.
Ideally.
And you just fight that. None of them have range or anything. They're just both sword-wielding people. Fairly simple to take on.
And
if you die, you go back to this bonfire. For whatever reason, you can't ever go back to the other.
yeah, you can. You just have to.
Well, you can teleport, but I mean, you respawn at
Yeah.
this one. Even though you lit the other one.
But yeah, we sort of glossed over that part. But yeah, we now have the Lord Vessel, which is sort of a crucible for souls, and it allows us to warp between certain bonfires in the world.
It does other stuff too, but we'll get to there a little bit
Yeah, we
later.
will get to that. Anyway, so you'll see I managed to at least kill one of those stupid guys, so he's dead. Before the DLC patch, these guys infinitely respawned, and together I think they either gave... I want to say they each gave 5,000 souls. So if you farmed them, you got 10,000 souls per run. And with a blacksmith right there, it sort of made... it made it a little too easy to just buy his Titanite wares. And I did not mean to do that. I always forget that I have the Homeward Bone equipped. Ooh. But yeah, it used to be that it was far too easy to farm those guys for souls and then buy all the Twinkling Titanite you could ever want. Do. Alright, so should we invade Lautrec?
Sure.
Okay.
And this is earlier, if you noticed, when we were in the large cathedral area, it said that the black eye orb was pulsating or something like that. And that's that has to do with Lautrec. If you have that in your person, you can invade his world in sort of a mock sham of invasions.
Yeah, the Crushed Eye Orb says it allows you to invade the world of the guilty. And Lautrec, since he killed the Firelink Firekeeper, he is a guilty sinner, and therefore we are allowed. Oh, and now I'm invaded by a real one.
Well, we'll invade Lautrec next time, I guess.
Oh no, we're invaded by Kai-Oni.
Well, let's hope this goes better.
Let's hope. We shall fight in Ornstein and Smough's chamber.
The other thing, too, is the more bad things you do in the game, I think it heightens the probability that you get invaded.
Well, it gives you sin. If you kill NPCs that aren't attacking you.
Right. Anything that in a BioWare game would give you dark points.
Yeah, and if you invade other players like this person is doing and kill them, then you gain sin. And then you become your name gets put in a book of the guilty, which we can buy from Oswald of Karim, the guy who is at the basement of at the base of the Gargoyle's Bell Tower. And then if you are in Gwendolyn's covenant and don't get him mad the way we have by killing Guinevere, then you may wow, that was a mile away from me. So was that. Then you can invade people who have high sin and kill them as sort of punishment for their sinful ways.
Yeah, so if you do want to join the Dark Moons, don't shoot Guinevere.
Yeah.
You need to not do that if you want to be part of that covenant. And you can actually get some really good spells from it. Again, it's all mostly faith, miracle-based stuff, but they are real good.
Be gone, invader.
So if you're a faith build, you may want to not kill Guinevere.
Yeah. Okay, so that worked out miraculously.
Well, you can't lose them all.
And hey, I didn't heal, so I wasn't a honorless noob.
Well, you healed now.
Well, I healed after I banished him.
No, where's your honor now, huh?
Anyway, so yes.
We should play this without Estus.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, the Black Eye Orb. Invade the world of a murderer of the Firekeeper. And there's even another hint here that the Black Eye keeps constant watch of the City of the Gods, Anor Londo, is another hint of you should use it in Anor Londo.
So the other thing is read item descriptions, because they tell you a lot.
And it actually won't let me use it. Am I getting invaded again?
Oh, do you have to use it maybe before?
No, I always use it after.
Oh, so... But I mean, have you used it before, like in Dark Anor Londo?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I always kill those
Try
guys.
going to like the top level. Maybe you have to be up like more.
No, I usually invade right on that staircase, but maybe
Well,
I'm getting
then I'm out of ideas.
maybe I'm getting human invaded again.
Why don't you just try going up? Or just in a different area.
Yeah. Alright, well, how about I just... Oh, yeah, I can't homeward bone, so it's counting me as either being invaded or...
Maybe it hasn't gotten past the last one yet.
Yeah, it hasn't reset after the invasion was killed. But anyway, while we're waiting on that...
2011 technology, everybody.
Yeah. While we're waiting on that, if you go out here and go down the stairs, again, all the giants are gone. And the gargoyles as well. So all of them were illusion.
But we are greeted with a familiar face.
Yes. Yes, there's someone in the distance awaiting us, and it is the Firekeeper from the beginning of Anor Londo.
Also part of the Dark Moon.
Yes. Yes, so in fact we learned that she too was a member of the Dark Moon Covenant.
And she ain't happy. God, that
Yeah.
roll. Oh, that roll.
Oh my god, what the F? Wow.
And that spell she used on her sword is actually a Dark Moon. It's one of the spells you can learn. the covenant.
Yes. And so we see that we got from her a Firekeeper soul.
Because she is a firekeeper.
She's a Firekeeper. And each Firekeeper that you meet, if you kill them, they actually have a unique soul, even though they are all just not titled Firekeeper soul.
But their description is for the person.
Yes. And we see this is the soul of the Dark Moon Knightis, Firekeeper of Anor Londo. And we learn that she wore her brass armor to disguise her ghastly form that arose from her having so much humanity in her that it sort of bubbled out from her and caused her physical deformity. And that's something that we pick up on from all of the Firekeeper souls, is that as part of the burden of being a Firekeeper, it means that you're pretty much burdened by having far more humanity than any one person should have.
Right, and that causes you to be hurt and in pain and disfigured.
The Firekeeper in Firelink Shrine has no voice, and it's somewhat implied that her tongue was cut out. And this Firekeeper had a disfigured body that she hid behind armor, and I am still in invasion mode. And the Fair Lady, the Quelaag's sister Firekeeper that we meet in Quelaag's domain, who am I? I'm getting invaded.